Welcome back, everybody. The Unremarkable Investor is back with another informative video about making side money. In particular, extra income that you can make while still having a traditional 9-to-5. I'm going to talk about some that you're probably already aware of and hopefully some that you aren't. So now that the greeting is out of the way, let's go ahead and get started. For starters, just to have a structure to this video, I want to break down the types of side money that you can make into different categories. The first category will be active involvement or physically doing the work for extra money. The second category will be passive involvement or income. I've already did a deep dive into this one in a previous video, so feel free to check that one out first before you watch this one. The third and last category will be on cashback rewards from credit card purchases and things similar to that. There will be some overlap in these categories, so we'll take our time and view a few examples of each. And at the end, I'll tell you what I think is the most efficient category. So let's get started. Active involvement or income is just you physically doing the work to generate money. The most common form of generating extra side money for most people is picking up a part-time job. Depending on your situation, you yourself are probably doing this now. And I can guarantee that we all know somebody that has received at least 2 W-2s in 1 year before. Full-time jobs are set up for you to have a full 40-hour work week with one job, while part-time work is generally defined as less than 30 to 35 hours per week. Also, you typically don't receive any work-related benefits for your part-time job. Popular examples of these include, but are not exclusive to, retail jobs like grocery stores, Uber, hardware stores, and seasonal customer service helpers. This type of side money is usually the first option because if you already have a full-time job, doing another type of labor to make money doesn't take any extensive research to figure out how to do it. Part-time jobs do require you to sacrifice your free time and sometimes sleep, but if that seems manageable, this can be a route you can take. Another example of side money for this category is having your own business on the side while you work your main one. In my personal experience, popular ones for this can include power washing, landscaping, cleaning, detailing, and moving services. I have friends that do or have done all of these things with their LLC. This category does take a lot of physical work and requires time to operate it efficiently. But if you have the drive and the right can-do attitude for it, it definitely is possible for it to be a sufficient side income for you. The second category is nowhere near as physically taxing on you, but it doesn't take away its effectiveness. Passive income is money earned with little to no active involvement. Examples include renting out your car, investing in dividend-paying stocks, putting your money into CDs or certificate of deposits, putting it into high-yield savings accounts, and renting out your home. First, I want to touch on the CDs and high-yield savings accounts. These both are considered highly safe and low risk. Certificates of deposit are when you put an amount of money into a bank or credit union for a certain amount of time, and after that time is up, you receive money for it. That amount of time you choose has a fixed interest rate percentage attached to it. This means if the fixed rate is 5% for 1 month, you receive a 5% payout of whatever you put into it at the end of that month. CDs are insured up to $250,000 per depositor, ensuring what you put in it is safe. There's a catch though. You can't touch the money until it fully matures or is at the end of whatever time period you chose to do. So withdrawing money before the term ends usually results in a penalty fee. Next, high-yield savings accounts. These are typically online-only savings accounts that often offer up to 10 times as much as traditional savings accounts. The appeal of these are the high annualized percentages that they give you. These are also insured up to $250,000. Now let me state this, both CDs and high-yielding accounts both are affected by the Federal Reserve changing interest rates. Unlike CDs that are locked in and unaffected by this, high-yield accounts pay by month, meaning they are affected for the better or worse depending on the interest rate climate. Both of these are smart ways of earning extra income to me because they require very minimal extra labor. Next, dividends and renting things out. Dividends are the result of you buying a stock and receiving a payout from a company just for owning it. I do this one, so naturally I would recommend it first, but that's my personal bias. Other than investing the money and monitoring the stocks that I have, it really is a hands-off strategy to making extra side money. This method also increases its payout depending on which companies you invest in, so it can really be beneficial to you. As far as renting out your personal items like cars, equipment, and even your house, it's a mix of active and passive. Renting out your car, for example, lets you lend it out to people to use via Turo, Get Around, and Drive Share. This method requires you to ensure your car meets age, mileage requirements, verifying insurance coverage for rentals, documenting car conditions with photos before and after trips, and managing handoffs, not to mention keeping up with the maintenance on it. This industry also requires high upfront capital for your vehicles, insurance, and parking. So even though you can roughly make a profit of 5 to 15% from taking this route, I feel the overhead is too significant and time consuming to be effective. So let's move on to the next one. Last on the passive side is renting out your home. I know people personally that do this also, and typically you'll see more established people doing this side hustle. The reason for that is they usually already have a house that they have paid down a lot or off, and they usually will have a fair amount of capital built up to fund this venture. You can also rent out a portion of your house, like a basement or a room in general, to people. You do have to be aware of routine things like cleaning, maintenance, repairs, and insurance policies, but depending on how well you screen the tenants moving into your house or property, they may take care of some of those things themselves. This method is known to produce a decent steady income ranging from 6 to 12% roughly for people if done correctly. The last category we'll talk about is cashback rewards from things like credit cards. In simple terms, cashback rewards are credit cards or app incentives that return a percentage of money spent on purchases, typically ranging from 1% to 5% or more. They come in different forms. For example, a flat rate, which is a percentage that stays the same, tier categories, which have a high or lower reward depending on what you buy. Examples are gas and groceries being higher rates and everything else being lower. Lastly, rotating cashback categories, which typically offer a high cashback rate on specific spending categories that change every 3 months. Now, it may not seem like much, but getting a 2, 3, or 5% cashback on something you get every week like gas or groceries definitely adds up. And it's not requiring you to do any extra steps other than applying for it and using it. So now the big question, which one do I think is the best? Well, if I'm being honest, I'm biased because I already do invest in dividends. So if I'm just picking one, I'd probably go with using that passive income as the best method of gaining side money. But I've also received some side money doing other things included on this list. Examples are moving things for people, landscaping with a buddy of mine, and receiving cashback rewards on cards I've had in the past. If it's not too strenuous on your physical or mental well-being, I would incorporate all 3 categories. You can keep working your 8-hour day job, then on your free time, invest in some stocks. Depending on what you buy, its value will increase as well as pay you something in return just for owning it. You also may know a young couple that are friends of yours looking for a cheap room to rent out. They are trustworthy, so you probably won't overcharge them and don't have to worry about any problems from them, which in turn would save you money on any issues bad tenants would cause. And all you have to do is worry about receiving your monthly rent from them, which coincides with the money you're already generating. To top it off, your everyday expenses are being paid for with your credit card, the one in which you're receiving money back on anyway. Consistency is key when doing these things, and it's a great feeling to see your bank account slowly but surely growing day by day, week by week, and year by year. In the beginning, it may be difficult, but if you keep at it, I'm sure you'll succeed in whatever your side hustle is. So we've come to the end of the video. I appreciate you listening to me talk about side money, side hustles, and all the things that come with it. If you feel like you've learned something new or you felt like something was entertaining for you in this video, feel free to hit the like button, subscribe, or share it with your friends and family. And once more, I do appreciate you listening to me talk for roughly 10 minutes. It's the Unremarkable Investor. Have a good one.